It's perfectly okay to use adverbs in speech. It's perfectly okay to use adverbs in speech. Okay, now for the show. I have promised you in this video, this live video, the best way to start from scratch to get ongoing clients for ghost tweeting, ghost blogging, and ghost writing. This is a subject that someone asked I do a best way newsletter edition for. And I thought this is the perfect opportunity to showcase how I think about writing, how I think about persuasion, lead generation, all of the things to kind of give you a first look, preview of the best way newsletter, I guess you could call it, system, formula, the way that I think. That way, if you haven't subscribed, you get the you get kind of a look into my thinking, systems of thinking. And if you are subscribed, well, guess what? Happy New Year! You get a free lesson. Okay, so some ground rules for this, and I have some notes here because I came prepared. Again, we are going to talk now about the best way to start from scratch to get ongoing clients for ghostwriting, ghost blogging, ghost tweeting, ghost speaking, ghost hypnotizing, ghost persuading, ghost managing, etc., etc., etc. Here's how you're going to do it. Ground rules first. Ground rules first. What works for one works for none. How's that mean? That means that if you try to exactly recreate exactly what someone else did, you will not get the same result that they did because of all of the variables that were there. This is why success stories can sometimes be misleading, because if you try to do everything they literally did point by point by point, you will get a different result. What you can do is identify the sorts of things they did and why they did them and see what is the same in my situation that I can also do to get feedback on the things that don't work, stop doing, and the things that do work, keep doing more of them. That's the use that success stories have. So what I'm going to focus you on is not, hey, do exactly what this person did and you'll make money, be successful too. Because that's not how reality works. Not how reality works. What we do know is that if you want to become a full-time ghostwriter, ghost blogger, ghost tweeter, any type of professional writer, copywriter, name your thing. Name your thing. If you want to become full-time any of those, and you're starting from scratch, and you want to be earning 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 US dollars a month or more, because there's a lot more here, you want to avoid the feast or famine income cycle as soon as possible. This is where you hit $5,000 in 1 month, and the next month you earn 500. I did that several times. 2013, 2014. That was years 3 and 4 in my writing business in particular. So you want to avoid those. How do you avoid those? By getting ongoing work. Here's the question. How do you get ongoing work? You start with proving yourself. PYP. Prove yourself projects. This is your number one objective for lead generation, for client acquisition, is look for prove yourself projects. That means you showcase how good you are. They say, wow, you're really good. Can I hire you for this other thing? Can I rehire you? Can you do this with me long term now that you've proven yourself? Because you're starting from scratch? Yes, that's how you get the ongoing work. You do not need hundreds of clients a year. I did that. It sucks. You want maybe a couple dozen clients a year who stick with you long term. It's amazing. It's like recurring revenue, but for your services. It's better than a job in terms of job security. Much, much better. Hey, Ray just joined us. Okay, now let us go back to where we were. If you're starting from scratch to become a professional writer full-time, you want to get the PYPs, the Prove Yourself projects. From whom do you get these Prove Yourself projects? Well, you want to find important people to prove yourself to. Why? Think about this very influential person, this VIP. Someone that, if they talk about what you did for them, you will get 50 inquiries. You will get 5 clients. You'll get 1 new client. Hey, I saw what you did for that famous person that I follow and I really, really like. And I saw what you did. Can you do that for me too, please? You get those for years. There's one particular project that I did 5 years ago now. I still get people from that project. As in, they see it 5 years later and say, Joshua, I saw you did such and such person's book. Can you be my ghostwriter too? 5 years later. If I were to trace the amount of revenue that one project was responsible for, the number of clients, I would take this strategy even more seriously than I do now, and it is the best way to get ongoing writing clients. Okay, so review where we're at in the process. To avoid the feast or famine cycle, to get the ongoing work as a professional writer, you're going to start with the prove yourself projects. You are going to find very influential people to whom you can prove yourself, and then they will want to rehire you. So where do you find them? The closer to you, the better. Ask yourself, who is most influential in your network that you're most active on? Is it on Twitter? Who do you interact with the most? As in, you retweet them the most. You reply gal them the most. Sorry, but that's okay. Facebook groups, are you active on? Is there a local business community that you're a part of? An industry group, industry associations, even forums you're a part of? What about your city, your town where you live? Who is influential there? That if you did a prove yourself project, a small project, this could be an article, write an article for them. This could be write their sales page. This could be write a thread. This could be write a couple of tweets. This could be writing something that they deploy that if it works, they will say, wow, can you please do more? It's like at Costco or at Publix or at one of the places where you used to be able to get the free samples, kind of like a little paid sample almost, right? If you like the slice of pizza for $3.75, then you probably want to get the whole thing. It's kind of like that. You don't want the whole pizza for $45, overpriced pizza. Just get a slice, okay? Just get a slice. That's exactly what you're doing here. That's a prove yourself project. And you want it from someone who can say, wow, this pizza is really good. You all should go eat it. That is the objective here. We could get more specific about what I did to follow this along, but I do not think that would be useful. Because, as we said at the beginning, the ground rule is what works for one works for none. Trying to recreate a success story of someone else to the T is not going to work because the variables are different. What can work is the steps that they took, the order they took them, and why. Understand why they did that, and you can see what applies to your situation. So as I'm saying this, you ought to be thinking, okay, who do I interact with the most? Maybe they're a blue check on here. They're a verified user. Maybe there's a Facebook group I'm a part of that I've replied to a bunch of the posts and I've got great rapport with the group moderator. There's 10,000 people in the group, and maybe if I did something for them, I worked something for them, wrote something for them, that would be amazing because they would talk about it and how well it did, right? What this also allows you to do is to test your own capabilities, because there was a tweet that went around here a few weeks ago on Money Twitter, in which something like 80% of new agencies begun in 2021 were closed by the end of the year. Why were they closed by the end of the year? It's an irony, because they are better at getting clients and serving those clients. You do not want to be that. You want to be someone who is so good at serving the clients tell everyone they know about you. And that means you want very important, very influential people. I've said before, my number one rule of success, the Lisec rule of success, is impress important people, because they will talk you up to everyone. Now, let's talk a little bit more about the prove yourself project that you ought to be doing for this particular individual. Offer this very influential person an irresistible offer, meaning the risk to them is low and the reward is high. Risk is low, reward is high. Why is the risk low? What does it mean by a low risk project? Well, let's think about a high risk project. Imagine you have 15,000 Twitter followers, and somebody with 50 followers, a cat in their AVI, a cat as their profile picture, messages you and says, hey, I'd like to write Twitter threads for you, $5 a thread. That's really cheap. Come on, you should take it. If you pay someone with 50 followers and a cat picture $5 for a few threads, and you publish those threads, you are thinking through this in your mind, that will destroy my reputation. Maybe. It might be so bad that I say, no. That is what I mean by a high risk. I'm not even talking about money in this situation. Very influential people are more concerned about their reputation, because their reputation is money. Their brand identity is money. The brand association is money. And so they are most concerned about protecting that. So when you approach them, think about what can you do that they will most definitely be able to check, and will actually check before they send it out. There was this, it was hilarious to me, a hilarious scandal recently in which a CEO, his team had hired a ghostwriter for him. And that ghostwriter put together a sleazy ass email attributed to the CEO that the CEO had not seen, did not know that it went out, and had to issue an apology letter for it. I found it absolutely hilarious. One of the best Fire Your Ghostwriter moments of 2021. That was a high-risk, low-reward project. They probably fired the person and don't expect that person to get more clients again. So coming back to this strategy, the best way to get ongoing writing clients when you're starting out from scratch and have no portfolio really, or no amazing testimonials or amazing sales pages, is start with a prove yourself project, meaning a little thing that you can offer someone. The one slice of pizza from the big pie for $3.75. Okay, I'm not hungry for the full pizza. I don't know if I want it yet because it might be terrible. From the new artisanal bakery. Okay, I'll get the $3.75 slice of pizza. The thing that you can do that if the person that you're offering it to says, wow, this is great, I'd like to hire you for more of those. Boom, ongoing client. And then the prove yourself project must be one that is, again, for those of you who are now tuning in, it must be one that is low risk, high reward. Meaning, you're not necessarily going to be making them millions. You'll be saving them a lot of time. A lot of time. I'll give you an example of this. Many times over the years, I have gotten long-term retainer ghostwriting and ghost blogging and ghost tweeting clients by doing something like this. Hey, to make sure we like each other and that we get along, I would like to start with a test project. Like, I will be the one who suggests it. That means, oh wow, this person understands business. The risk of hiring someone new goes down. This person understands business. This person understands that I have a little bit of anxiety about hiring someone new for a long-term thing if I don't know it's going to work out because I don't know how good they are. Okay, so you lower the anxiety, you lower the perception of risk of hiring you by talking like a real business person. Okay, and then you can say something like, now that we're working on this initial test project, one of the things I would like you to do is to track how much time it saves you. And you want to say this to a potential client. You should say this to all clients, right? Because for a very influential person, their reputation is money. Their time is money. They're more concerned about time than spending $50 here and there. Everybody has $50. But they want to see if what the person is doing is going to save me a lot of time. And usually, one of my best ghost blogging pitches goes something like this. I'll ask them, about how long did it take you to write a blog article? Oh, well, the last one I did took me 5 hours. It was a waste. I was up till 3 o'clock in the morning, and then it was terrible and had to rewrite it. All right, this is what I hear from a lot. Well, then you just saved them 5 hours. That's worth a lot. That's worth a lot. And if they only have to make a couple of tweaks, even a few rewrites to a blog that you write for them, and it maybe takes them half hour, 40 minutes, you took the client publishing a blog post from a 5-hour stressful activity to a low-stress 30 to 45-minute activity. And if they're a very influential person, they kind of have a mental hourly rate about how much their work hours are worth to them. So if you are you saved them 4.5 hours, shoot. Every time you write them an article, you save them 4 hours. That is a high reward, low risk activity. High reward, low risk activity. Now, the best way to apply this advice is to think through these questions. Number one, what can you do for a very influential person that will save them a lot of time? That you can offer them a low cost sample. $100, $500 of your services, right? Less than $1,000. Less than $1,000. This is when you're starting out. This is when you're starting out and you have no real portfolio. Think like $500. What can you do for $500 that would just save someone 5 hours of their time as a writer? Okay, then you want to go to someone who is a very influential person in your network. And the reason why is, not only would they, assuming that you prove yourself on the project, want to rehire you for that because you save them 4 hours for everything you do for them, 4 hours per project, 4 hours per article, an hour per tweet thread, half an hour per whatever. They will tell people in the network about you. And it will be an organic process. But we know that most sales in all industries are attributable to word of mouth. So because we know that most sales are attributable to word of mouth, That's what you want to do. You want to get the word of mouth engine kickstarted for you. What do you also know? We also know, sadly, that if a happy client is in the forest and there are no trees to hear the happy client in the forest, and the happy client recommends you to the trees, but there were no trees, was there a happy client? Okay, terrible metaphor. You get the idea. You can have happy clients, but if they don't if they don't have any reach, what's the point? What's the point? I have clients come to me to this day who are, as I said, attributable to a project I did 5 years ago, and they are direct. It's almost like a web, almost, where this person, this person hired me, and then they recommended me to this person, who recommended me to this person, but that person also recommended me to this person, and both of these people recommended me to this one and to this one. This person recommended me to this person, who recommended me to this person, and pretty soon you have this web of customers coming to you easily. It's not like a step-by-step sort of prescriptive formula, because those don't work in the real world. What works is getting as close to instant feedback as much as possible. And if you can get a very influential person to pay you $500, $250, $100, doesn't matter. Something that will save them a lot of time that they otherwise would have wasted doing it. And it's not something that goes out without them approving it. Like, they get a chance to see it first and be impressed by it. Awesome. Awesome. Now, it really helps if what you're writing for them is going to be public, because that way you can link to it. You hyperlink to the Amazon book or the sales page or whatever. So often people will be like, so Joshua, what do your books look like? And I'll be like, hey, here's a book called Dr. Philip Ovadia's Staff and Operating Table. Sold over 4,000 copies in 6 weeks. And people are like, that's what you want. You want people to go when they see what you've done. That is the best way to get ongoing writing clients from scratch. And as I said at the outset, it is perfectly okay to use adverbs in speech. Perfectly okay to use adverbs in speech. Happy New Year, everyone.